Denmark is a member of the Human Rights Council running back from 2019 and until the end of 21. And one of our priorities within the Council work is to strengthen the protection of and respect for human rights in relation to business activities. Just as importantly, we work to bring Geneva closer to the field and also to try and bring the field closer to Geneva.
As you know, the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights is a policy document in which states spell out their priorities and action points for the implementation of UNGPs. So in this case, it's essential for holding states accountable for the protection of human rights abuses by corporate actors.
There's no one size that fits all. So we had to be true to the Kenyan context, yet guided by the spirit of the guiding principles.
But also we've been participating in national stakeholder consultations, looking at what are the business actors saying, civil society, the community members, especially those who are impacted by business operations, like in the extractive sector, but also in the agribusiness sector. We've been down there trying to make sure that their views are not missed out.
And it's important for us to keep issues around gender and COVID and how these are magnified when we are looking at responsible business conduct and the COVID-19 pandemic. There is also intensified discussion around responsible business conduct and the dialogue for businesses to respect rights, even when we are in challenging and unprecedented times like the COVID-19 pandemic. And if we are looking at the localization agenda and the human rights-based approach, I think this speaks directly to the role of grassroots communities because they understand their issues better, but they are also intelligent enough to come up with the particular solutions to their problem and follow up that these are done. And of course, one thing that we've also seen is that COVID-19 has clearly shown our interconnectedness as civil society, citizens and businesses. And this is irrespective of whether we are in the global south or global north.
So in terms of the digital transition, really in many ways we could say that Eastern Southern Africa is the last digital frontier in many ways. We also see that in many ways there is weak human rights protection and safeguards in place as that transition is happening. There are plenty of opportunities for moving to the renewable sector in the region. So there is huge potential in all types of renewable technologies. But the question is, are the right human rights due diligence frameworks in place to ensure that that happens in a way that's compatible with human rights?
We see a lot of large-scale land acquisition that is supported by government that often ignores customary land rights. Failure to do human rights due diligence ends up exacerbating the already existing gender discrimination.
Paper doesn't change anything, but when it's implemented on the ground, it might. Particularly if it's implemented on the basis of a multi-stakeholder approach involving civil society, national human rights institutions, UN organizations, UN resident coordinators, not least, and so forth.